I think there's a couple things that I try to do daily to keep learning that's a little different than sitting down and reading a book, which I also try to do fairly regularly. But I think one is sort of check in with kinds of reportage around food and agriculture and the environment, and somewhat separately tends to be technology that goes a little beyond headlines from just Wired, but or things that I already think I'm going to trust. So that some of the best reportage out there, Sarah Tabor or Sam Block. I mean, there's some reporters and writers who I just think do a fabulous job thinking through issues in food and agriculture. But I do think it's important sometimes to say, what do farmers think who are not necessarily viewing themselves as progressive, farmers who aren't urban, what do other people think? And to get these opinions and get this knowledge, it's raw data that's interesting and useful sometimes, and it really can reframe an issue. So you say, okay, well, this is how most people are understanding this crop. Even just outside of the country. So I spend a lot of time comparing the United States and the Netherlands, and more broadly the US or North America and the EU. And there are differences. There's differences, especially when it comes to greenhouse and vertical farming, and it's almost inverted, where here greenhouse news is a lot smaller. Their greenhouse is just huge. I mean, it really is a big deal. Whereas over there, vertical farming, it's pretty skeptical proposition. Here, I think you get a lot of enthusiasm. Yeah, this is the future. We're farms on Mars. Everything should be fully enclosed. Really expensive lights and cannabis. And the EU, cannabis is illegal. So I think those differences can sometimes, even just and that's still pretty close to my main sort of duties in terms of researching this industry, but it's very helpful to get your head out of just the one track. But in terms of a daily practice that's not as directly related to work, I think I would just say, when you go out to eat, ask people about ingredients. If you're not used to talking to chefs or servers, talk to them, strike up a conversation, and try to learn about the food. I try to eat a lot of places where if I don't know the name of something, I just try to learn the name. I mean, it's actually hard to remember, past a point, a bunch of new words for a bunch of plants that you're not used to growing or eating. And that, I think, that exercise can lead to some really awesome conversations. And it just kind of keeps you on your toes. Oh yeah, I am really used to eating the same 15 plants over and over again, just kind of chopped up in different ways. Red sauce, green sauce, cheese on top. It's still, it's sweet basil, it's arugula, whatever it is. Trying to learn all the names in Thai of different basils, and of different herbs that aren't, that I've never seen before. It was just kind of like a good exercise. And I think has made me more aware that there is so much knowledge about edible plants and fungi out there, and it goes a little beyond kind of looking up stuff on YouTube to have that visceral experience and to have that exchange with another human. I think it really reinforces it. So I think the first step could be, if you're interested in something, Googling it, but just in your daily life, be aware that there's so many opportunities to learn and to stay engaged. So those are two things I try to do in terms of read news beyond things that I think are going to reinforce my own view, and really engage with other people around the food in front of us, whether they're serving it to me or we're eating it together, or we're just in the same space. And basically try to learn from others how they're thinking about food and ag, and question my own assumptions in that sense.